Hi guys! Welcome to the second episode of the Adult Asian Pop Fan. My name is Tiffany Jane. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm just gonna take a sip of my beer real quick. I'm drinking a White Zombie. I actually wanted Allagash White, but they were out. So on this episode, I want to talk about KCON NY 2018. I am from New York, but I have never been to a KCON before. I know they've been doing it for 7 years now, and just previously either the funds weren't there or the time simply wasn't there, but this year all the stars aligned and everything fell into place and I was able to go. So I just want to share with you what my experience was as a first time KCONer, so to speak. So let me just tell you about the basics. So the event actually took place in Newark, New Jersey. Lots of New York events take place there because it's more space or it just better suited for this kind of thing, I guess. The event took place 22nd to the 24th of June. The 22nd was basically a early check-in day, which is a good idea because if you did show up on the days, like the 23rd, you were standing in line for hours that were at least a mile long. So it actually was a good idea to have that early check-in option. Unfortunately for me, due to work obligations, I was not able to have that whole weekend starting from Friday off. So I actually went back into town. I actually flew into New York the morning of the 23rd. Luckily, I had the person I went with, she's more into that standing in line for hours, getting there early in the morning. So she was there on time and she was actually able to check us in. Well, on time meaning like she probably got there an hour before I did. So she was there probably like 10, which is still kind of late for the nature of this kind of event, because things kicked off immediately. So moving on this year's lineup was Heize, NCT 127, Pentagon, Red Velvet, Super Junior, Stray Kids, EXID, Golden Child, From Is 9, and 101. On the 23rd, they had Heize, Pentagon, Red Velvet, Stray Kids, Super Junior, and the rest were on the following day. So when I purchased my tickets, I didn't realize it was split into two separate tickets like that. I thought that it included the whole concerts. The concerts and the convention were two separate tickets. And I thought that they were included in the same price as when previous years they had one thing. It wasn't two separate entities like it was for this year. For whatever reason, they separated. And I actually ended up purchasing a convention ticket with two audience attendances and a chance to win high touch and red carpet. Mind you, at the time I purchased it, I thought I was already getting the concert. So that's why I said, okay, I'll spend a little more to get these extra things. It wasn't until my cousin who I went with actually was able to tell me, no, that's not how it's working this year. There are two separate tickets and two separate prices, and you still have to spend a couple extra $100. Not extra $50, $20, extra couple $100 to actually get to go see the concert. So it was wildly expensive this year. If you wanted everything, I think the biggest package that you could get was in the tune of $3,000. Like if you paid the diamond package, which was $1,500 for both the concert and convention, we're talking about grand. So, which is insane for a stateside K-pop event. It's usually nowhere near that cost. So yeah, the ticket did not include the concert. So I was like, well, okay, so if the concert's not included and the general admission is only $20, so what was the extra $100 for? Well, basically you pay an extra $100 or extra $65 depending on what you got for a lottery system. So you can participate in a lottery. You couldn't choose who you wanted to see. You just paid to potentially get somebody that you knew of or liked. And also you wouldn't know who you got until you checked in. So again, I wasn't there for the early check-in or even first thing in the morning because I was just getting back to New York at that time. So I found out who I got. I ended up getting Heize and Stray Kids to attend their audiences, and I missed them both. So, which at some point it didn't really matter because I actually ended up seeing Heize like walking by doing this random photo op and interview. So I got a good picture of her and video of her then. So it was just like, okay, well, this is dumb. But I ended up winning red carpet attendance, which was, I thought I was excited about at first until I realized it wasn't what I thought or knew to be a red carpet experience. Like I normally think of red carpet as the artist entering the event and walking across the red carpet, right? And taking photos, signing autographs, stopping to answer questions and that kind of thing. No, that's not what happened. We were basically shuttled into this gymnasium. It looked like there was a stage about 10 to 15 feet away from the furthest you can be, the guardrails basically. And they got up on the stage and they answered questions, mind you, that were only posed to them by the host. The audience wasn't asking anything. And the questions, of course, they're never anything of substance. They're always like these silly questions. Nothing like, what was your training years like? Some of these artists are rather new, so that experience is still rather raw for them, so to speak. They're just getting out there. What is it like being a new artist? What projects are you working on? What are you excited about? Like nothing like that was asked. So, and basically they stood out there for 10 minutes. And that was it. At some point, so the audience was so loud and screaming and crying that you couldn't even hear the questions being asked. At some point there was a point where the actual host had to tell the audience to calm down.
She says this is their first time in New York. She's very excited for the performance later tonight, and she's super glad to see all of you guys here. Not like I can hear her. Everyone take it down 2 notches. Thank you.
There was one girl in particular screaming in my ear the entire time, and I gave her the dirtiest look, and she realized like if she did it again, she was going to be laid out on this floor. But anyway, so that was that. So an extra $100 for something that you could have gotten basically with your general admission, just pictures of them on the stage. Because remember, they had the artists on the stage outside on the KCON stage where they were standing, answering questions and, doing photo ops too. So it was just kind of like, what was this extra money for? It's like, to me, I felt like it was just like a ripoff to squeeze extra money from people that might be super fans that want to soak up every instant to see their favorite group or their favorite artist. Where, for me, I am a fan, but I've thought that the stuff that they had outside was enough opportunities. You know, you didn't have to pay all this extra money. Like I said, it wasn't an extra $50, extra $20. It was extra $60 to $100 on top of your general admission ticket. So you were paying, you know, well into $150, $160 for convention tickets, that and even more if you got the diamond in the platinum ticket. So it's just kind of like, what was this extra money for? Like, it didn't deliver on that. I felt like a red carpet should have been a true red carpet if people were paying extra $100 for it. You know what I mean? Like, there was, and you call it fan engagements, like artist engagements rather. Let's engage with them. Can we ask them a question? Can they sign something? Can I take a selfie or take a picture? I actually did get a picture with Alex, but like that was at another thing, and she was outside again, something that was free or included in the general admission. You know, it wasn't this extra cost. So, you know, that's that. I know you guys are probably thinking, you know, okay, bitch, is there anything that you liked about this whole thing? Like, what the hell? Yes. I like the fact that there was lots of complimentary items being handed out at the convention. Lots of like samples and things of that nature, or for cheap costs. Like, there was things that you can buy that were all under $10. So that was great. I love Korean and Japanese products. I literally have a whole drawer of this stuff at home. So, excuse me, I really like that. The thing is, there was lots of interactive things like dancing. There were fan clubs, meetups. I'm not a part of official fan club, but you know, I can see that being valuable for people that are. There's also lots of opportunities to win things too. So I actually did end up winning a high touch for 101 from driving the new Toyota car. So there was that, and the line for that was like nothing, because you know, lots of children there. Someone not in New Yorkers, you know, New York kids, we don't drive. Like, I just got my driver's license not too long ago, so we don't drive. So that line was like incredibly short, and I won high touch photos. High touch tickets, sorry. There was lots of panels for discussion. There was a cooking class, a paint night. There's one panel that I do want to touch on a little bit. So there was this panel there for fans. They're called fans 30 and up, but the real target age is 25 and older, and they're targeted towards that fan. So I was like, okay, cool. They didn't completely neglect, you know, some older fans that are very much valuable towards the industry of K-pop, because once we're adults, we can afford to actually buy tickets and, you know, buy albums and pay for all this stuff ourselves, not our parents, you know. So I thought that was really good that they weren't abandoning them, because you do sometimes at K-pop events feel a little bit like, okay, well, this is something for children. Like, you see that that's mainly who's running around, and that's mainly who's being catered to. So I was hoping that I'd get a little bit of nostalgia for some of the older groups. Like, I was around when SES was big, when BoA first stepped on the scene. The first song I ever heard K-pop related was in fact BoA's Don't Start Now, when she filmed in New York and she had these black backup dancers. So I was very intrigued by that. So now that you know, like, I've been, you know when that song came out, right? So I was just really excited to be around people that probably had the same experience. I get there and I probably stayed about 20 minutes. Here's why. So there was first a question asked of how long have you been watching or involved in K-pop or been a fan of? And basically she started with the years, a year, 5 years. There was not that many people at 10 years or more like I am. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, and then only one person beyond that, really. So these are older fans, however, they are still newer fans. So it was just like, okay, well, all right, I still see what else they got to say. Then a question was asked, have you ever been called a creep at events? And I was like, no, I've never been called a creep at events. No. And I was just, a couple of people were actually like, yeah, I've been called a creep. And I was just like, okay, so K-pop is not the only thing that has older fans or older people walking around. If you are, like, for example, there's Sesame Place, there's adults in Sesame Place, you know, or all of them giving you creepy vibes. Like, you have to be doing something that's creepy in order to be called a creep, you know? So, yeah, so I was like, okay, no. And next question, she asked, how many of you actually felt like you lost friends and family members due to your fangirling or interest in this? And I was just like, a few people were like, yeah. And I was like, no, I haven't pretty much have the same amount of friends and family members in my life. They kind of know, like, I've been into this stuff since I was a child, so it's not really something that I happened upon one day. Like, first is I grew up with basically Japanese stuff and then transitioned into K-pop and stuff like that. So people already know that I kind of like was in this realm. So like, no, I never felt like it, but it disturbed me that people felt like that they were losing friends and family members. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't agree with people trying, ruining themselves or, ruining their relationships with people over fandoms. You know what I mean? Like, to me, like, don't do that. It's not worth it. Like, keep your friends and your family. Do not throw them away over fangirling. Like, what's more important, your relationship with people or being a fan? Think about that for a second. Another thing is that they asked, and I was finally like, okay, like, I can't do this. Like, the last question was how to balance your life with being a K-pop fan and, just being an adult. And I was just thinking, okay, I can't believe there's people out there that actually need an how-to on how to balance their lives and be fans. Like, that's just so shocking to me. And I'm like, again, I'm a fan for 15 years in K-pop specifically, even longer if you want to talk about Japanese or Asian pop culture, even longer. So I don't understand, like, how people are really ruining themselves these days. And, like, I guess I kind of knew that some of the older fans are on the creepy side. They're definitely out there because it's not kids taking out bank loans to pay for gifts for their favorite K celebrities. Like, that's not a child doing that. It's not children getting jobs in hotels and things of that nature so basically they can stalk their favorite artists. Those are adults doing it. So I kind of knew that those kind of fans were out there, but it was just kind of like shocking to see that some of these people might be here in person. And they talked a little bit about uncle fans. One of the ladies were like, I talk about my boys. People ask me how my boys are doing, and I can tell you everything about their lives. Like, pretty much the same level of fangirling that happens with the younger people and happens with the older people. It's happening with them, basically. And one thing I like to point out is there's certain lines that we can't cross as being older fans. I know that they were trying to really push this narrative of you like what you like and then that's it, enjoy it, be your best fangirl or fanboy or uncle fan that you want to be. But I have to point out that there is a line. We have to recognize that we are, in fact, older fans, and there's lines that we can't cross. And I feel like it's irresponsible not to point that out. For example, a lot of these artists they are children. They are kids themselves. So we have to realize that we can't cross a certain line with these children. For example, a 17-year-old saying like, oh, so-and-so boy band is so hot, you know, I want to fuck them, yada, yada, yada. She's in that age range. We as 25 and 30 years old and more, we are not in that age round to talk about how we want to bang a 15 and 16-year-old. Like the girls that are members of From Is 9, those are underage girls, okay? So we can't be talking about how beautiful and how sexy they are. Like, that's a line that we can't cross. So we have to make sure that we are not crossing a line. Like, I didn't stay long enough in this panel because I realized it was a little bit too weird for me. And another thing, it mostly is because I thought it too was a little bit too matronly for me. You know, I curse, I drink, I'm normal outside of this, I guess. So, you know, I have all my friends. So like, I realized I didn't fit in with these group of older fans. So I don't know if they pointed this out, but I want to make sure that I say it. Like this, we are older fans. We have to accept that, and we cannot cross a certain line with these artists. A lot of them are children, and we need to respect the fact that they are children, and that's that. So, lastly are the concerts. Now, by the time I realized I completely screwed up and brought the wrong tickets, their 23rd concerts were actually completely sold out. Like, I couldn't get a concert for the 23rd. So, what happened? I bought a concert for the 24th. And because I waited, I actually got pretty good seats because last minute, probably a few weeks before the show actually kicked off, the tickets for Section 9 opened up. And that was literally right next to the stage. Like, you had people standing, and then boom, where's your seat? You know, it was just that was the best seats in the house. One of the best. Section 9 and Section 18 opened later. So because I got my ticket at a later point, I actually had access to better seats. So that was a huge plus. I was within the first 5 rows of that section as well. So that was actually really good that I waited, and you know, the show was good. It's a K-pop concert, lots of color, lots of screaming, lots of bright sounds, fan chants, and the colored light sticks. So the light sticks that they gave out, you had to purchase it. It actually had like a rotating stick, the rotating color, so you can set it to the color of the group that was currently performing. So that was really cool. So the concerts are really great. I actually saw the second concert. I didn't see the first one, but you know, I heard it was really good too. Red Velvet actually did part of Bad Boy in English. So, but yeah, it was really fun, and that's another part that I did in fact enjoy. So, overall, I would say try to put your money towards the concerts. Like, if you can't afford or don't have a desire to do like a lot of stuff that they had at the convention, I would say put all your money towards the concerts, because that's really where it's at. You know, the concerts and maybe souvenirs and merch. Do not spend extra money on the engagements and that kind of thing. And then because it was a lottery system, there were people there selling their things that they got and didn't want, and also there were opportunities to win these other things again. So the best thing to do is just put your money towards the actual concerts, and then when you get there and you see somebody selling theirs, you can pick exactly what you want to see and then go. So that way you're not like waiting and, you know, that kind of thing. So if I go again, I would definitely do it that way. And that's going to be all for today. Thank you for sitting through this video with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. Remember to like, subscribe, and share my videos. Join my Facebook page. I also have Twitch, so go ahead and follow me on there as well. Thank you for watching, and you guys have a good day.